Hola paisanos, Just Jalile here, and let me tell you, Nintendo just pulled off the biggest scam of all time. They legit just said, we are gonna release a beta version of Tears of the Kingdom, rework the title and call it Breath of the Wild, release it at the launch of the Switch, and have people play test it, pay to be the play testers, and compile that data and soon create an information sheet to rework what be the final product, Tears of the Kingdom. And not only that, mark up the price by $10 additional and create not only they made one single game essentially and made us pay twice. And if you're still here with me and haven't disliked the video or comment how dumb an idiot idea that is, congratulations. You've made it this far ahead because you have a little bit more common sense. Of course, Breath of the Wild was not a beta test for Tears of the Kingdom. And of course, that wasn't the mindset Nintendo had. But I'm pretty sure there's some corporate heads out there that are probably thinking, we could probably get away with that. And chances are they are already doing it. So, why did I bring this up? Well, the thing is, when you have video games as successful as this, right? A game that reaches millions of players, makes probably $1 billion, billions of yens for sure. A game this successful, people start to take from it and breaking it down in ways that start taking things out of context or start taking out details and start just formulating their own thoughts and feelings regarding what makes it a success. Now, for Breath of the Wild, huge instrumental game in opening up the idea of open air video games. I mean, there was open world before, but with open air, it just reinvents the wheel in a way. I mean, it's not too complicated, but there's games that have been released since then that try to replicate what Breath of the Wild was. Examples such as Pokemon Arceus. We can discuss that at a later time, but you know what I'm saying. You look at the game and you're like, oh, it's Pokemon, but Breath of the Wild. Oh, it is Fire Emblem, but Breath of the Wild. I don't think there was one, but just an example. But that being said, other companies would look at probably what they saw with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and probably be thinking, moving forward, can we release a beta game that will be the final game and people pay the full price? Chances are it won't happen, but you should definitely keep an eye out in the following years to come, because a game this successful will have people be very corporate and very greedy and start thinking it in these kinds of ways. I'm pretty sure there's aspects of it now where we have beta games that are released into market space. I don't play those games necessarily, but I'm pretty sure I've seen videos of it once or twice before in which these beta games are released at full retail price and are nowhere near a finished product. But understand that there's a certain standard that you are wanting to go about it, and if Breath of the Wild was a beta test, it is probably the best beta test game of all time. So, why is this even a topic and worth discussing? Well, the thing is, Tears of the Kingdom is amazing. At this point, I don't even know what you could do to build up. You could probably add more, and you could probably add a few elements here and there. There are probably things that were missing from previous Zelda games. But at this point, it's really hard to think of what the follow-up of Tears of the Kingdom may be that will make you think that Tears of the Kingdom was just a beta for the next Zelda game. And the reason I even want to bring this up is that now, moving forward, do you think of Breath of the Wild as a lesser game now that Tears of the Kingdom is out? For me, easy answer, no. Breath of the Wild is still an amazing game. I haven't gone back to it, but I can imagine it will be hard now that I've played Tears of the Kingdom and will continue to play Tears of the Kingdom. I ended up just deleting it just to make space, but really just because I didn't think I was going to go back to it anytime soon. But that's the mindset that some people might be having moving forward. What is the next step up? Because initially we had ideas what to make Breath of the Wild better, which now we know it's Tears of the Kingdom, and now that Tears of the Kingdom is out, what do you think is gonna be the necessary steps to make the next Zelda game, its next iteration, make Tears of the Kingdom look like the beta test? What are some key elements or details that would enhance another sequel in a manner that will make Tears of the Kingdom look far inferior? Breath of the Wild, fantastic game, but I dare you all to go back to that game right now and not be thinking of the mechanics we use now with Tears of the Kingdom in mind. Tears of the Kingdom, fantastic game. I can't imagine what it would take to make a better game. While Breath of the Wild, I could have thought of things to make better. Definitely the story, the traversal of the world, being able to manipulate items that I wanted to do, which at the time I couldn't think of any, but now looking it back, I could definitely see where it's like, oh, what if I was able to create certain things? I'll obviously not be Minecraft about it, but I could just wanted to think about it along the lines of what could I make to make my experience much more enjoyable. And Tears of the Kingdom just said, you build whatever you want. Breath of the Wild, you were able to my biggest pet peeve of Breath of the Wild was probably like not having a blacksmith. So for the fact that there's a fuse mechanic now, it's like I don't even know what for me personally speaking, I can want for a successor of Tears of the Kingdom to make it better. Probably the story, but like I said, since I haven't even finished the game, I don't even know. But based on the portions I did play, I'm enjoying it so much. But what are some things that you think are necessary for the successor to do? At this point, it's not perfect. I know it's not perfect. Nowhere near perfect. Because I'm gonna be honest. For me, a perfect game would mean that you would want to replay it. It's a video game. You want to have an experience, and you want to be able to kind of recreate those experiences and feelings as you progress through the game, and then maybe find something new later down the road. And I don't believe I'm going to replay Tears of the Kingdom. I did replay a lot of Breath of the Wild, which to me is a phenomenal way to evaluate a game as a video game. If you replay a video game multiple times, that's a good indication of a great video game. Whether it's a single player story, whether it's a multiplayer, the more you replay it, the more you know it's a fantastic game. And Breath of the Wild, I probably replayed it from the very start, like at least half a dozen times. It was always, how can I beat Ganon with the least amount of hearts and items? And I learned really quick. It took a lot more than just 3 hearts to beat Ganon for me personally. So Tears of the Kingdom, I don't think I'm gonna be replaying anytime soon because I haven't even finished it. But even if I did, I don't think it'd be the same feeling that I had as my first playthrough. But Breath of the Wild was special. But now, in comparison to Tears of the Kingdom, it would look like a beta test. But for you who were thinking it was, in the words of the legendary Reggie Fils-Aimé, what's wrong with you? Now, you may have that thought, and which is fair enough, but you keep that in mind because the next successor to Tears of the Kingdom might have you think that maybe Tears of the Kingdom was really the beta test for the next game. I'll have you chomp on that thought for a minute. So let me know what you think. Do you really think Breath of the Wild was a beta test for Tears of the Kingdom? Like I said, I don't think so. And even if it was, I will gladly have paid those $60 again, knowing that it was just a beta test. If Nintendo just said one day, Breath of the Wild was just our beta test and you were all suckers, I would gladly be like, you know what, Nintendo, that's a-okay with me. If you keep doing that, do that with Mario Odyssey 2. If you do that with Mario Odyssey 2, all is forgiven. Give me a beta test of that so that you release Mario Odyssey 2.5. I'm okay with that. But Nintendo, if this was a scam the whole time, that was a really good scam. Keep scamming me like that, because that was good. That was good. So this was Just Your Lyle, and I would love to hear what y'all thought in the comment section below. Appreciate a like and a sub, and I'll check you guys in the next one. Paisanos, later.